We're live in my hotel in New York City. It is fight day, UFC 217, and I got this badass microphone and this killer stand because I was doing something. I'm working with TSN. Sorry, a little adjustment. I'm doing something with TSN, and which in Canada is like ESPN in Canada, but better. And so I was shooting something for Facebook Live for TSN. I thought, you know what, we gotta hang. I gotta like tell you guys what's going on down here. It's been crazy. You know, this is my real. You guys are my real audience. My audience. Although it is, let me tell you before I talk to you about George St. Pierre, Cody, what I saw with Rose Namajunas. I've been up close and personal with all these people. So yes, we're gonna talk about the fights, but I'll tell you whatever I can about what I've been seeing behind the scenes too. But I've been loving the assignment of finding the way to describe these things for a mainstream sports audience, TSN, and then even like a mainstream audience, like CTV Canada and stuff, and we've been doing a lot of hits for that kind of thing. So suddenly, yes, I want to get into the deepest stuff ever, and that I can do with you guys. The deepest things I can find. There's a lot of questions popping in. I will get to some of them, but I'm just off on a brain dump right now. It's fun to try to find the right way to get across basic concepts to people who aren't knee deep in fighting all the time. And it's been a cool assignment. You know, I had a guy on the radio or on TV with CTV in Toronto. He's a very mainstream guy, and he was like, I was talking about George, and I said he's humble and kind, and he's an artist, and he was like, isn't that ironic that he beats people up? And I'm like, no, man, this is art. But so I saw a question about Rose, I saw a question about Bisping, I saw a question about Cody. Let's start with Rose. So some of you have seen backstage when we're asking the questions immediately. So they go out on the stage, they have the thing, Joe says some stuff, they get interviewed, the audience is there. So Joanna's whispering to her and trying to, hey, Winnipeg, I'm doing my live show in Winnipeg, December 17th, please come. And Rose comes in the back and she's trying to be stoic and like very even, you know, and then she starts to cry. I see it forming, and she's talking, and I see it forming, and then she starts to cry, and because this is heavy. Yeah, I see somebody else has seen it. She's not mentally weak. It's like there's war happening, psychological war. Please don't call them mentally weak. She is stronger than 9,999,997 out of 10 million, because she's got this far. You can't, people who would, and I'm not calling you out on this, but for us, this is normal. We don't know. We can't weigh it. So we'll talk more about, somebody's asking about Kung Fu. I'm going to China on Sunday to commentate Kung Fu. These are the strongest people in the world, but when you take the top percentage of mentally tough people and you put them together, some of them can crush each other. You know, it makes sense, right? You're talking about pressure. Most people would never get this far. Most people would, like, they get out of the gym after a few weeks, or they give up because they're hurt, or they're whatever. She's dedicated her life to this. Of course it's painful. It was painful to see, and it was painful to be there. And I think on some level, my job, to some people who do my job, would be to like go further, make her cry more, get her emotional. My inclination, my natural tendency is to bring her back, make her feel better. So I talked to her about, it's normal to feel emotional. You know that, right? Of course you should be emotional. But so that one's heavy. And, there are times where we go, oh, they cracked, put all your money on the other one if you're a gambler. And that's not true. It doesn't matter how you feel a week out. It doesn't matter how you feel the day before. It doesn't matter where you're at mentally the day of. It doesn't matter where you're at an hour before. What matters is in that moment, in the moments of the fight themselves. That's what matters. And sometimes I think we forget, like we look at them as robots and machines and these perfect organisms. They're just humans. And there are times you're really good at your job and times you're not good at your job. Times you're very patient with your family and times you're an asshole. And they're the same. somebody put something on Twitter to me, and they're like, because I said with Luke Thomas, who's a good friend, I said it's about performance. How well does she perform? And people go, no shit. Somebody's tweeted me that. It's like, yes, but do you understand that performance, the ability to get your best out of yourself, is a variable? It's not like if she performs great, that'll be great. That's always great. What I'm saying is the ability to get good performance from yourself in anything is a variable, and it's one that is within your control if you train it. And it's tough for Rose. She's got a tough one. Sorry, I'm just doing something here. That's better. Choose Joanna before the fight, but as you said before, it was a beautiful display of combat. Rose is the type of girl I just want to give a hug. True. She's very kind, seems very sweet. Seems very sweet. Bisping to throw many knees and uppercuts. Bisping to throw many knees and uppercuts. That one's fascinating, man. Like, I mean, there's all the 4 years off and all the unknowns, but the technical game itself. So let me tell you something that was incredible for me. So, you know, I get to talk to Dan Cormier, and we'll interview George, and we see things up close and personal. I love the open workouts. There's all this cool, amazing stuff I'm consuming all the time. But the very best was John Danaher invited me in. We were going to shoot a piece, and he had Gary Tonin and that other world champion of his, young guy. Oh, I forget his name. In so many names and so many things and so many people. But he went through with me some general stuff, and then he went through with me the 3 get-ups that Bisping uses, the specifics of the get-ups. You know, one off the post of the arm with the turning of the back, another one. 3 very specific games that he's been playing. And he had it analyzed, of course, in detail, and they've been answering the game of what to do when Mike does these get-ups. Because we used to think of it like, you know, how likely is it that we actually see reinvented GSP? We will. But it used to be, it's like, can he get the takedown? You know, will you get the takedown? We used to present takedowns as a binary thing. We tried a takedown, we succeeded. Or we tried a takedown, we failed. You know, it's not that. Takedowns are fluid. It's not 0 or 1. It's not 100% or 0%. We got somebody 40% down, and then we worked it to 60, and then they're part of the way up, and now it's only 30% down, and then we get a leg and it's 70% down. A takedown is an ongoing thing. Nobody surrenders them anymore. Will George take Bisping down? Yeah. They know they can. George takes down fucking the highest level of wrestlers. The issue isn't taking Bisping down. It's keeping him down. You know, and that's, again, love to hear about your musical past. One day we'll talk about that and how knowledge can be used in your MMA analysis. Everything, you are a product of everything you learn. Everything you learn, it all works together. When I build those breakdowns, it's editing, the same editing software as people edit music, you know, and I made music videos, it connects to it, you know. Hey Robin, you ever going to come to Australia? Australia, #Australia 2018. So I have my first live show December 17th in Winnipeg. We've been building it. I'm going to be working on it on the plane. I'm going to China on Sunday. It's like a 26-hour travel day, or days. And I will be working on my live show non-stop, all the flight there. I've got to also consume a lot of information about this Kung Fu Championship tournament. So I got work to do on the flight. But once that show is up and running, I'm going to go to Dublin in the spring, and I'll try to go to Australia in the summer, which is their winter. So we'll see. But am I planning another Montreal hangout soon? I hope so. I would have done a New York hangout, but it's been so busy. But I'm glad we get to hang and do this. But the game, when we think about takedowns now, don't think about it as like we're on the feet, and then you do something, now we're on the mat. It's like you're part of the way down, or as you're down, you think I'm down, but once I have one post up, or I have my arm this way, I don't surrender. There used to be a time where we go, okay, we were taken down, now let's go to guard and let's fight off our back. Most people don't do that anymore. Much of a factor, I'm sorry, I missed some of your questions. I missed a lot of questions. So the game for George is how do we keep him down? And Danaher went into detail about, in this particular one, the game is keeping the hips lower, and in this particular one, the game is attacking that post arm. And he narrowed down how to beat these 3 stand-ups of Bisping's, 3 specific ways that he's going to get to his feet. And George has been drilling these things forever. I saw Jorge Masvidal question. Do you think it would be smart for Gamebred to take Wonder Boy down, or will it hinder? So same thing. The takedown, we need to start rethinking how we look at takedowns. we're just wrestling. It's just grappling, you know. We engage our bodies together and then we fight. When you put somebody down and you hold them down and positionally control them, it's really hard to do now. So it isn't done very much. When you see it, it's impressive these days because nobody accepts being down. So what happens when two people fight and grapple? You go in and you battle, and then finally you go, okay, I'm down. And you start working from a bottom position. That's jiu-jitsu. That's the tradition of grappling. We're in a bottom position, let's make it offensive. Now, very few people really do that. You get me almost down, but I'm getting up, and then you try to get me down again, and I'm up, and then I've changed position, and I get up, and then it's an ongoing thing, and it's tiring. Do you believe GSP will be able to upload? I missed those, I'm sorry, guys. You're concerned GSP will gas because of the adrenaline rush. It's possible. He's never gassed in a fight much. There are moments where you see, but he fights through it. Yeah, George's karate footwork, he's been playing a lot. I got to do karate with him. It was really cool. Some great karate fighters, some great athletes, point karate guys. They taught him a whole different game of moving his feet and striking, so it's pretty cool. So that fight's incredible. The challenge of it is obviously George doesn't want to get hit much and early, you know, so we can stay on the outside, and maybe a couple people boo. Who cares? Play Wonder Boy style, like run, draw. If you get the chance, hit him as he's coming in, and then once he starts pressuring because you're so far outside, although Mike will just be like making, you know, doing that kind of thing. But once he pressures in, then you go in and you start attacking with wrestling. Understanding again that it's, and these guys all understand this, and they have for 2 generations of fighting now. It's not like, let's take Michael down. Oh, good, we succeeded. It's like he will be continuing, it will be an ongoing battle to keep him down. And that's the trick. Do you think TJ will use a lot of movement and leg kicks? TJ will be wrestling a lot too. Rose, you're a true savant. Yeah. Oh, me? Oh, thanks. Yeah, she was great. GSP never faced anyone who has fluid head movement and will specialize in boxing. So the head movement game is much better on average than it used to be, but George deals with that every day in the gym. The TriStar team, he spars with big guys like Mike, but he also spars with small guys to deal with speed and fluidity. And there's nothing there that he doesn't know. Do you think GSP is looking for submission by exploiting Bisping's get-ups? Yeah, and to strike him a lot during those get-ups. But I don't think you'll see him sacrifice and roll for something, you know, but if it's there, he will definitely take it. He can out-grapple Mike for sure. Now, I'm a low-level grappler and a small guy, but I grappled with George. And holy fuck, is he scary. Like so scary, so powerful, and so positionally smart, and everything is just so like, it was really a pleasure. What do you think of Cody Garbrandt's video knockdown? So that stays in the gym. I'd never train with him after that if I was somebody. That's supposed to stay in the gym. But I asked Bisping about it, and he's like, yeah, you know, it's supposed to be sacred. And he goes, but on fight day, if I had one of George, I'd be showing it to everybody right now too. So, no, it was a push. No, he dropped him, but he got right back up. You see as the edit, his foot, he's already jumping back to his feet. People get dropped all the time. What undercard fights are you most excited for? Fuck, I haven't even given that. Duffy and Vic is pretty spectacular. Will we see a totally reinvented GSP tonight? You'll see a somewhat reinvented. I mean, he's bigger, he moves differently, his footwork is different. Am I Canadian? Yes, I am. So I've been immersed. There's a documentary, it's on Fight Pass and tsn.ca/UFC. I spent 6 months off and on with, the atmosphere was crazy, with George. So I've been seeing him up close, specifically in the gym for months off and on. What that tells me though is I don't know what Mike's doing, you know? Yeah, Faraz's brother, Eamon, he's very, very good, very talented. Korean Zombie was getting, I can't quite read it. My vision is bad, I apologize, guys. For the bigger ones, it's hard for me to read. So I've seen George up close, but it makes you realize I'm not in the gym with Mike, so I don't see what he's doing, you know? the more you see of one guy, that you realize the less you know about the other. You know? I didn't see Bellator last night. Are you a betting man? No. Johnny Hendricks, yeah. Johnny Hendricks is in there against a young, big, powerful stud. It's spooky. It's when you think that in the 4 years George took off and he rested his body and he got stronger and he became bigger, he's a better athlete. Johnny, look where he is. He's been down the hard road. You know, feel for him. Do you think Bisping will get stronger as it goes on? How does George look carrying the extra weight? He looks great. George likes to be bigger. You watch me prepare and spar somewhere. These are flying by. I'm sorry, guys, I can't read them. But really fun fight. It's really fun to be down here at the fights. Sometimes I'm in the studio. Sometimes I have, you know, other coverage and I'm at home. But to be here and be immersed in it, you get more information. You're closer to it. You get the feel of it. So it's been cool. But I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Is there anything specific, technically specific? I wish I could have, I think there might be a video, I'm going to look now, of stuff I did with Danaher in the gym. It was brilliant. He's a brilliant man. I think everybody knows that, but this is a real gift that guy gave me to work with me for an hour like that with Gary Tonin and his other world champion stud, who I apologize. Slipped his name. I've had a name issue for the last 5 or 6 years, and I know getting punched in the head didn't help it. It's, you know, so George's punching power with bulk, fuck, dude, generates power. It's crazy. But Bisping's so underappreciated. So underappreciated. He's so special. If you're on my YouTube channel now, which I guess you are if I'm talking to you, go back a couple of days. I did a piece on Bisping and what makes him so special. How does Masvidal play the distance? You met me at Bathurst. Thanks for stopping. Oh, cool. No problem, man. Yeah, Bisping cut a lot of weight and George didn't. So that's some advantage for George not having to go through it, but it's a big advantage for Bisping being bigger. That's the trade-off. Every weight cut and everything, that is the trade-off. Randy Brown versus Gall. I don't know enough about Randy Brown, but I do know that he's got tight boxing. But Gall is supposed to be very, very good on the ground. A legit brown belt, aggressive guy. So Masvidal is a huge, yeah. He's got a. Masvidal said he thinks it's an intent, you know, meanness. Fuck it, let's get him. He said that is the issue. That other guys. He said the technique. He said all good guys know how to corner a guy like that with small steps. It's the meanness and willingness to take some shots and intent, he said, is the difference. And he knows. Fucking Jorge Masvidal knows, man. How does Joanna manipulate space between her and her opponent? Joanna, bang, 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 and retreats on a jab. Bang, 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 retreats on a jab. So it's jab exit or exit jab, jab on the way out, whatever. I'm in range. You are my opponent. I'm Joanna. You see me, bang, bang, and I'm moving away on this jab. So fill the space, give you something to deal with, and move out of space. So now you're Rose. I move back 1 foot, and you move forward 1 foot. We're in the exact same range, which is what Joanna wants. So for Rose, she comes off lines, but also moves forward slightly more than Joanna moves back. So Joanna moves back, and Rose moves a little forward. And what does Joanna do then? Boom. Right? You're moving towards me, bang. So think of that. It's not just where we are, but it's what tool and where you are, and I made you go there. So I make you chase me, I make you chase me, you chase me, and I drill you, right? Whoever is leading that distance dance is part of the deal. Same thing with Jorge, only with Jorge, he's the one who has to close it. So when whatever Steven does, moves back this much, Jorge has to move forward this much. So that's how you close distance. It's very simple. Move forward more than they move away. And do it while not getting kicked in the head. You know, there's a simplicity sometimes to this. There's a real simplicity. Think about it. If you and I are 6 feet apart, and let's say 5 feet apart where I can kick you, and you move back two inches and I move forward 2 inches or a foot or whatever, we're the same distance. If I need to close distance, I must go further, and I can do it by, if you're moving this way, I can step off where you're going. So Steven backs up. So this is him backing up, backs up and around, which is the right way to do it. You don't just run straight back where I just chase you. You go back and around. back and around. And as you go back and around, I go forward and cut off the angle. So you're going this way. It's very simple. You made an L, and I cut that line. And so if that's what you have to do to catch a Wonder Boy, and that's what you have to deal with Joanna. She's making you chase. Instead of you going, I know where she's going, and I need to get there first, you're going where she fucking makes you go. Even when you go forward, she's making you go forward, and then bang, you eat that. When I was looking at Darren Till versus Cowboy, I was like, this guy, if he just stays outside, it's not going to be enough. He's going to need to get inside or play something different, maybe some elbows. And the elbow was the thing that did it. Not because I'm fucking know something other people don't. It's just, it's there. It's there for him. And he knew it, and he's incredibly skilled, and he figured it out. And he knew it easily. It was instinctive. You know, he could feel it, which is what's so amazing about some of these guys and women, is it's now feel. We're past the point of just going, well, and then they low kicked and then they moved here. It's like, this is a feel thing. This is an art thing. It's music or painting. So, as if you watch my stuff, as you know, one of my quests is to start to find the right way to explain these things. I think that little description of distance maybe is one of the right ways. The game is changing faster than our ability to describe it is changing, so I'm working on that. But professional breakdown. So tsn.ca, you'll find a breakdown that I did for tsn.ca/UFC. It's a couple GSP breakdowns, 3 or 4 minutes long, storytelling with a little technical in the middle. So that's my step back towards it. tsn.ca/UFC. You can see the whole half-hour doc I did on George, and there's a couple of technical pro breakdowns. Ultimately, they're going to be better than any one I've ever done before. But to get to there, I have to go through here. And so you'll be able to see those. And I appreciate anyone who's really interested in them. I thank you guys. George and Bisping, insane. Cody and TJ, fucking insane. Insanity. Really another high level of game. And TJ is trying to set traps, and because Garbrandt believes, I asked him, I was like, can you use it against him that he thinks he knows something about you? And he kind of smiled. It's like, that's what they're working on. Doesn't mean it'll work. Cody's a killer. It's a fucking insane fight. Rose and Joanna, intense fight. Jorge and Wonderboy, like, fuck, this is good. I'm so excited. Thank you guys for hanging with me. I really appreciate it. If you think of it and you're interested, I have a Patreon page, patreon.com/RobinBlack. And that'll let me bring Mark down here. People help out, and sometimes we're going to bring Mark to Winnipeg. We're going to try to bring Mark to Detroit. That allows me to do more stuff when I have him with me, and people help make that happen. Instagram @RobinBlackMMA. I'm covering all week long. I'm not able to get on YouTube as much without Mark, so I end up putting videos and stuff up on Instagram. I think right after this, I'm going to go over on Periscope and catch with those peeps. So if anyone's interested, look on Twitter and you'll see me over on Periscope. But thanks, guys. It's really amazing to have a bunch of friends that you can sit and talk fights with anytime. And I'm real privileged, and I really fucking appreciate it. I'm living a good life. I really am. And if I get a chance to like share any stuff with people or offer somebody an idea and talk about fighting, I really want to share it. Thanks. Enjoy the hostilities, my friends.